Welcome, family, to another episode of the Midnight Moods podcast. Man, this is a very amazing episode because we've got new camera angles, new guests, you know what I mean? Powerful guests, and it's about to be amazing. I'm Coco the Conscious, aka Mr. Moods, and this is Conscious Conversations, real talk with real ones. And our real one for today is Faye. What up, Faye?
Hey, my man.
How are
so good
you?
to be here.
Thank you for coming through, Faye.
Absolutely.
Faye is an author, and we're going to get into the book, an author, Salvos Ambassador, and a thrift stylist.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and done a lot of TV work as well.
Yeah.
We'll get into all of that, but we want to get into the book straight. Like, I think that's the first thing we'll jump into. But first, how was your day? How you been?
My day was good. Yeah. My lovely husband's been teaching me boxing,
Yes.
so I'm a little sore and sorry for myself today, but in a good way.
Brotherly.
Brotherly.
Yeah.
He's bringing back my Amazonian spirit,
Yes.
he says, which I'm here for. So yeah, so it's been good, and just a bit of yoga and just trying to chill out. It's been pretty intense with the book release. So I've just been trying to find balance and, just sort of chill a bit today. So yeah, it's been nice. Nice to see the sun, hey?
Yeah, oh my God. It's everything.
Right?
For me, personally.
Yeah.
I'm just like, especially after the 2 weeks or 3 weeks of just rain, I'm like, you really appreciate the sun.
Big
and you're
time.
like, oh my God, the energy it gives you.
It really
and then
does.
you just feel, like, I don't know. I don't get depressed, but I get very down when it's just raining all the time.
That's a thing. It
Yeah.
really is. Like, we need that vitamin D. It's like it does something to our soul. Like,
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
big
right.
time.
And I think even like serotonin wise, like it gives you more and all that. So it's,
Yeah.
we need it. We need
do,
it. That's
yeah.
it. I don't know if you said you're from London or something to do with London. There's a connection there.
Yeah, so I was born in Surrey.
Surrey.
In just outside of London, so it's about an hour from London Central.
Okay.
And my mum is English and my dad's Australian, but he went over there to be a rock star.
Okay.
I met my mum instead.
So as in music.
Yeah,
Wow,
he wanted to be like, Mick Jagger.
Yeah,
Like,
why not?
or Keith Richards, probably more on the guitar. But yeah, so he went over there and then walked into a florist one day and saw my mum, and that was kind of it. And
Wow.
I wasn't planned, but I'm here. So we came
Beautiful.
out to Australia when I was like 1. So I've lived here all my life, but but I'm still a British citizen, permanent resident, obviously because of my dad. But yeah, born in the UK. That's where I'm from.
So that's where it started.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome.
And my parents had such a love and affiliation with fashion, especially vintage, because in London in the 70s, like, it was really interesting, and I talk about this in my book. I said to my dad when I was writing it, did you guys thrift? Like, is that what you called it?
Yeah.
Or he's like, no, we didn't really call it that, but everybody was vintage shopping. In fact, if you didn't do that, you weren't cool. So it was like proof of cool if you were buying, antiques and vintage and like secondhand and just, things that had been bespoke made, so tailor made, like custom made, all of that. That was what their jam was.
Wow.
And they weren't there was really no such thing as fast fashion back then. So
when was this exactly?
So that was kind of the late 60s and into the 70s.
Yeah.
Kings Road in London. And all those kind of areas around there, Soho, they were all like, that's where all the, rock stars used to hang out, and that's where all the great tailors were, like some of them. And then there's Savile Row, where there was other amazing suit tailors. And so Dad has told me so many stories about that time, and that really instilled that love of story in style and how our clothes can really say a lot more than just being a garment on a hanger.
Yeah, it's a bit deeper than that.
Yeah, it really is. So that's kind of where it started.
Okay.
And then it sort of became my own expression, I guess, after an interesting journey. But yeah, it definitely came from my parents.
So your parents, that's where the love stemmed from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, especially with the fashion with Dad, and then Mum is more sort of the creative kind of crafty person. Like, you could give her 2 sticks and she'd make something look like it's from Vogue.
Wow.
She's just got this knack.
That touch. Yeah.
Which just, she just kind of makes everything look like it's expensive, but it's not. Yeah. So I think it was kind of that coupled with my dad's, he's like a walking historian of fashion and music. So it was kind of those 2 things that kind of made
Fused together.
me,
Yeah, wow.
you know, a different expression, but a product of those two
yes.
things. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's that. I needed to know that.
Yeah.
That's,
okay.
'cause I saw on your page you took apart like a Louis Vuitton something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, so when you said that, I was thinking of that. When you were talking about your mum, I was thinking, so you can see how it's all part of you. Wow.
She definitely instilled that kind of craftiness in me. And I think especially so now, I'm always thinking, what can I do with this instead of throwing it out or discarding of it? And that bag especially, my dad gave me that like quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it had been affected by mold and just the weather and whatever over time. So it wasn't really wearable anymore. But I was like, I can't let go of this. It's got a memory. It's got a backbone. So how can I turn it into something else? So I found another bag at the Salvos.
Yeah.
And I found this amazing leather maker. And she cut up my old Louis Vuitton. And I said to her, what was that like? She goes, oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah. Like cutting it up, you know. and she cut it up and then she took the canvas and then put it onto the new bag. So it was like this new expression, but it still carries the story, you know.
Yeah, it has that same signature in it. Wow.
I'm all about the story.
Yes. And that's how the book came along,
right? I didn't plan to write a book, but here we are.
How long did it take?
Oh, about 3 years.
Wow.
The name came to me first, Op Shopulence. So as you know, in Australia, we call thrifting op shopping. And so much of what I do is about elevating and shifting the perception of how we see secondhand. So I see it as opulent. I see it as abundant. I see it as just as beautiful as new. In fact, better because it's got a backbone and it's got a purpose, you know. So I took the word op shopping and the word opulence and created my own word, op shopulence.
Why not?
Yeah, so that came to me first and I just thought, wow, what a cool name. Maybe I'll just do a post about it. But then I kept writing these posts and I'm like, this is a long blog post. Yeah. What's going on here?
There's more.
So yeah, I never really set out to do it, but it was just listening to that intuition and that voice and that kind of nudge. Maybe I should write a book.
Wow. So it happened organic like that.
Yeah. And then when we got thrown into the lockdown, that's when I wrote the bulk of it. So I'd written a little bit before, like probably 3 chapters. And when we went to New York in 2020, before the world fell apart, I'd written a bit and I'd wrote a bit on the plane on the way home. And then we got back and everything fell apart. And so obviously we're all trying to deal with that initially. And then I just thought, well, I can't go anywhere. So what am I going to do? Let's see if this is a book.
Wow.
And and apparently it was.
That's amazing. Definitely.
She's chunky too. She's curvy like me.
I love how you've given her like the she though. Do you know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah.
You feel like you've birthed something, right?
I really do. I love that you say that because it really does feel like that. And I remember the day that I launched it just 2 weeks ago. I've never been that nervous in my whole life. I felt sick. I thought I was going to throw up. Wow. I was sweating. You know that Eminem song? Yeah. His hands are sweaty. His palms are weak. You know that vomit on his
spaghetti. Yeah, be nervous. Yeah.
That was me.
Wow.
I was losing it.
Yeah.
Because it was just three years of this like a pregnancy in some way. Like I was birthing something that really is not just about me. This is about shifting consciousness. So I really felt the weight of that and I still do. Yeah. But in a good way, but just holy moly, this is a big deal for me. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
So it did feel like a birth.
A birthing, yeah. A lot. Elongated one, 3 years, that's it.
And now the baby's even more work.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
Wow. So it's crazy how, it's funny that lockdown, would you say it didn't force you, but it kind of made you go in more?
Totally.
And you had to sit with yourself and really, push out that book.
Which wasn't comfortable at times because the book was a lot of things. It was really joyous. It was fun. It was challenging. It was upsetting because the more I researched, the more I discovered what fashion does to people, the wrong kind of fashion, how it treats garment workers, how it treats people of colour that are marginalised. Yeah. It just was really upsetting. I already knew that, but to kind of learn more and really dive into that just made me feel sick. And it taught me a lot. I feel like I went to Thrift University.
Wow, yeah.
So
Thriftversity or something.
Yeah, Thriftversity, totally.
Let's just create a dig. You should
Let's
create a dictionary.
Well, I have a
Another one.
Thrift-saurus in the back.
Oh, really?
Like a thesaurus, but a Thrift-saurus.
That's dope. That you've created.
Yeah.
And, wow.
I've got like silly words
I love
like
it.
thrifty cent and
Wow.
like, you know, bougie, bad and bougie, like, but talking about like bougie on a budget. I've got like opulence. I've got, just silly words.
That's beautiful though. I like that because it's like at the end of the day, the English language was created by someone or some people. So why can't we start creating words?
And I think had to have fun with it too, which makes people to connect. You know, it helps them to connect, I find, because fashion is a language that we all understand in our own way. You know, even if you sort of are not in the industry or you say that you're not that into it, we all think about our appearance and we all have things that we wear that we feel great in. You know, like for me, it's like, you know, like I love men's suits. Like I love it when I put on a suit, you know, like that just kind of really feels good to my soul. Like I feel powerful and I feel like just, a bit of a boss, you know, like I like that feeling.
That's it.
So I think, I love that clothes can just really give us that feeling, you know.
Yes, I like that. And I've seen a little bit of the book. I got to flick through it when you let me hold it beforehand in the car, Brother Lee's car. And you were connecting like chakras to certain could you explain that, to certain colors and parts of clothing, garments? And I'm like, wow, I've never thought of that in my life. And just reading it, I was blown away. I was like, it's like something unlocked.
Wow.
You know?
I love that.
And it's just like, and it's had me thinking after like colors, like if I wore like purple, so then like, like when I perform, I'd wear that purple, get that like cosmic energy, and it's just different. So it definitely flipped something in me.
I love that. And I really have my husband to thank for that because that's something that he really opened up my eyes too. I always had, you know, a connection to certain colors. I love green and I love white especially. But I'd never really thought about it like that. Each color has a meaning and a spirit, and it can really change our state. And when you apply that to fashion, it becomes or can become a conversation starter. It can become a connector. And when you have that awareness, you kind of emanate that energy. So each color, you know, has that different feeling and it kind of connects to the chakras. So like blue for the throat, you know, orange for the sacral, like just all these kind of different colors can really invoke emotions. And Lee's really shown me that. And he's kind of, I guess, as a force, we've sort of worked together with my fashion language and his spirituality to create this concept that we're sort of musing on called fifth dimensional fashion. And really, I guess in simple terms, that just means fashion that's vibrating on a higher frequency. It's of purpose, you know, it's for people, it's for the planet. It's got a backbone and it's mindful, you know. So when you buy something secondhand or you buy something from an ethical brand, you're voting with your dollar. So that creates that consciousness. You know, you're making that choice to really stand for something. So, you know, coupling that sort of notion with, you know, connecting people to colors and this concept of fifth dimensional, it's really just fashion that, you know, does good. Yes.
I love that because I was saying before to you, like, I think people are more receptive to that nowadays.
Definitely. You know? And I think post-COVID too, you know, I think we just really reassessed everything and we just couldn't keep doing the things that we were, you know,
Facts.
like, right. And I know, you know, I think about the fashion industry and so much of what was wrong with it and still is wrong with it, but I try not to focus on that or be an angry activist. I try to lead with love and try to say, look, here's an idea, you know, have a think about it, go into a thrift store or look at an ethical brand and, you know, shop that and see how that feels. And when you go into a thrift store, you can connect with the people in there too. The staff are a total vibe. They're so friendly and open. And it's just a different energy when you go into a store like that as opposed to a high street store or like a fast fashion store.
It's like fast food. It's like quick, get in, get out, make a sale. Yeah,
it's like, you know, it's like just a dirty burger, right?
No, you're right. Like it's so true.
Yeah, like it just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't have the same feeling for me anymore.
That essence,
Yeah, I want to know where my clothes came from. I want to know who made them. I want to know what they stand for.
I love that.
Yeah, and we can all make that choice. You know, it's really simple. It doesn't have to be overwhelming, and I get that it can be. You can't change the world in one day, you know. But if we all work together and all make those conscious choices to look at secondhand, to look at ethical brands, if we all did that, the fast fashion brands wouldn't have anyone to sell to.
True.
So as consumers, we have a lot of power to vote and to not buy things or choose something else. And then the industry has to wake up, which it is. There's really positive changes. There's some cool stuff happening. So I try to focus on that.
Well, this is part of it.
Yeah,
this is a huge part of it. Yeah,
I really want this to be, you know, a shapeshifter. I really want it to be an educational piece, but really inspire people. You know, even if they just walk into a thrift store for the first time, I'm like, my job is done. You know, like just opening up those doors for people, I think is so important, and just having those conversations and having that awareness, because a lot of people, they still don't know what kind of goes on with fashion. They don't know that there's these, you know, women working in garment factories that don't have a lunch break. They get paid terribly. They can't afford to even still buy food for their family.
Sad,
and they're making clothes for us just so we can get a $5 shirt. Which we don't have any connection to, and when it rips, we chuck it out. So it's just kind of, once you get that, and I do talk about that in the book, but then I go on to like, right, let's talk about some solutions.
So you're not dwelling on the problem.
No, like I think you have to address it, and you have to talk about it, but then take action. And just, you know, lead with love, and just think about what you can do as an individual. And it's just really slowing down and just being more mindful about where your clothes come from. Asking brands questions too. Who made this? You know, like social media is amazing. You can tweet a brand or DM a brand or leave a comment on their post. You know,
get your answers.
That's right. There's a special event happening next month called Fashion Revolution Week.
Wow.
And Fashion Revolution Week is basically that opportunity to ask brands those questions, and for the collective to kind of get more answers about where clothes are coming from. So it's a really great week. You know, you can look at their website, fashionrevolution.org, and you can just really, dive into ways that you as an individual can make that change, which I love. You know, it's empowering us as individuals to go, okay, well, where did this sweater come from? And, you know, who made it? And are they okay? And all those questions, because we don't think about it, right?
It's true. I can put my hand up for that. I've definitely...
Yeah, we've all done that, you know, and it's really, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you didn't know. Yeah,
you weren't aware, you weren't conscious of it yet.
That's right.
This is making everyone a bit more mindful.
Yeah, so that's a huge reason why I wrote it. You know, I feel like it's definitely part of my dharma to help people understand.
Yes.
But also shift the way that we see it too. Just because it's secondhand doesn't mean it's not cool.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's old either.
No, it doesn't mean it doesn't look amazing. It's how we see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all perception. And when you change the way you look at things, like things change. So I love that as an individual you can do that, and it doesn't really have to be about labels. It doesn't have to be about price tags and all that BS. You know, it's like thrift allows you to find your own style too, which I love. You're like just finding what it is about you that you want to express to the world. And thrift is just like a giant treasure box. You know, there's no real, even though there's sections, I wear so much men's clothes. I steal my husband's clothes all the time. Like, I'm definitely a girly girl, but I like having that masculine kind of element too. Like, and I think, you know, that just sort of speaks to why do we need to either be male or female, or why can't we just be us and wear what we want to wear? And thrift really opened me up to that. Just try everything on. I try on the men's stuff. I look in the kids section. I go in the craft section for weird stuff and like I just play.
Play, key word.
Right. Yeah, just that inner child.
I was going to say that.
Snap.
Yeah, that's intense.
You know, so just go in and play. And I love that you can do that. Like, you don't really have that freedom in, you know, the Zaras and the H&Ms, and it's all kind of fed to you.
Yeah.
So thrifting is like you kind of got to figure it out, which is cool.
And you get to exercise your creativity, right?
That's right.
So, yeah.
You got it.
And that's funny. No, but I got to go thrifting now. I think.
Well,
that's
we need to go.
Yeah. So how do you, for example, if you have how do you style someone? Would you just be like, would you need to know something about them first, or do you just go on? Like, how does it work? What's the process there?
I think the best way to describe that is the journey that I've taken with Lee, my husband.
Yeah.
So when I met him, his style was very different. It was kind of like a rainbow fell on him. Yeah. Bless him. I love him. But it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I never said anything. Yeah. I was just, that's him, you know.
Yeah,
that's his style.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be like, you need to stop wearing that. No one wants that.
Yeah, facts.
So he just started watching what I was doing and he just started asking questions. And one day he said, can you style me? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, finally.
All right. And so I started asking him questions. I mean, I kind of knew, obviously, as his partner, but, you know, I tried to tap in more. Like, if you wanted to add something that showed who you were in an outfit, what would you want to add? Mm. And he was like, well, I love feathers. I love crystals. Yeah. I love Elvis. I love American Indian culture. I love Indigenous culture. You know, I love like the kind of 40s. So all these things he was saying, I was like, right, okay. So if we just start with really simple things, then let's look for cool ways that you could add that in. So I started like different sort of like mood boards for him.
Oh, wow.
And I would say, what do you think of this? Tell me about what you think of that. Do you like that? Tell me about that. Do you like this? So I would empower him to kind of invite that concept in for himself. And then by asking those questions, I would find those little things. So I started adding in, because he loves like the 30s and the 40s, he wears cravats a lot. So I just said like, do you want to try one of my scarves as a cravat? And he was like, okay. So he tried it and he loved it. Now when we go out, he's like, I need a cravat. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You know it. You know? So, and the evolution of his style is just amazing. And it's all because of thrift, all because of secondhand. Because, you know, I found him these boots that were made in Spain. They're like a kind of very fine leopard print.
Okay.
And when I showed them to him, he was like, oh, they're too wild. I can't wear that. And I said, why don't you just try it? Yeah. Just step into them and see how you feel. And it was so funny. As soon as he put them on, he was loving himself sick. Wow. He was like, yeah, right, these are not bad. They look pretty cool. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, they do. And he's like, okay, well, maybe we should do you think we should get them? I'm like, why don't we get them? They were $30. Let's just try. And now they're his favourite shoe.
Wow,
you know?
That's so good.
And just seeing him step into that and seeing how he was always confident, but seeing him step into a room now, it's like he just commands the room. Yeah.
Because his energy already, and then now his clothes are reflecting that.
That's right. Wow. And he feels even more himself, you know. And so quite often when we go to events, we do think about what we're going to wear because we want to start those conversations because everything we're wearing is secondhand. So we're always looking for ways that we can really put that forward, you know, and have fun with it, but really style it up, you know, really make it stylistic and cool and high end. And nobody ever believes that it's secondhand. They're always like, wow, you're wearing designer. No, we're wearing a $20 shirt and
I love that.
$10 jeans and
they're in
$30 boots. And, you know, so just seeing how that's been transformational for him. That's why he has his own chapter in the book, because it's great to hear from the guy's perspective too. Yeah. How it's been really transformational for them. And it does, like you say, it allows him to communicate who he is more. Yeah. Which helps him to share his wisdom with the world too, because people are drawn to him because he looks cool. Yeah. And then when they hear him speak, they're like, oh, wow. Yeah. He's cool. And he's got something cool to say.
That. Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I do it. I really tap into who that person is. And I ask questions and then empower them to make the choices for themselves. Yeah. And then just sort of guide them, I guess, from a styling point of view. But it's very important that they feel themselves. Yeah. Because I can't tell Lee what to wear. That's his expression, you know?
Just guide him through it, give him options.
That's right, just give him options. And I've created a beast now.
I love it.
He loves it, you know?
Yeah, definitely a showstopper.
Well, we'll have to go out one time when you see him all dressed up. You'll be like, what?
I've seen the pictures though, and I'm just like, both of you, it's just like two, like, just goddess walking, do you know what I mean?
That's so
but
nice.
You can see it. It's like It's beautiful. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
That's we do have to go to an event.
Yeah, we
100%. You guys would you guys gotta give me some.
Hey, I'm ready to take you thrifting whenever you want.
Yeah, of course.
Or even shop your wardrobe. Like that's another thing. Another way to be sustainable is reinvent what you already have. So just look for different ways to wear what you've already got.
Yeah.
There's so many so who's someone that inspires you, like style wise, or like is there a musician that you love, or like?
I do love Kanye.
Okay.
J. Cole, but J. Cole kind of dresses but he's got his own. Yeah.
But if you like Kanye, like I could make you a mood board of Kanye's looks, and then we could look at what you've got.
Yeah.
And what's missing, we could go thrift. But quite often, I mean, Kanye wears really simple things. He wears denim.
Very simple.
He wears like a lot of like athleisure, like streetwear.
Yeah.
He wears, caps. He wears like cool boots.
Yeah, he's got these massive boots now. I don't know about them, to be honest. I don't know if I can rock. They're intense, right? I'm like, he's got on the moon. Like, they're like moon boots. They go up to his knees. I'm like, wow.
They're mental, right? Yeah. And the big kind of like, they're like Canadian tuxedo.
Wild,
yeah. He's out there. But it's interesting when you look at his style, and you look at a lot of celebrity style. Quite often the things that they're wearing are actually quite simple. Denim, suits, T-shirts, sweats. It's all pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's just, the attitude that you put with it, and just adding those little accents that make you really you. It's quite often it's pretty easy to replicate, and we forget what we have too.
Yeah.
You could just kind of see it in a different way. You could, cut something, or like put paint on it, or like just think of like different ways that you could DIY what you've got.
Yeah.
Like just reinvent it before you just go straight to a new shop and buy something. You'd be surprised what you've got.
True. I love that. My sister, she does stuff like that. Like she'll
cool.
get like my old jeans, she'll cut them up, turn them into her own shorts, and like she uses everyone in the family. She uses all our clothes.
Wow, I
and
love
she just
her.
Turns them into. She's a Libra too.
Oh,
so you probably because Libras is aesthetic for them. I'm pretty sure.
Totally.
So that's I'm like, dude, is that my top? What have you done to it? You know what I mean? It's like my pant. Like she just goes crazy, but it's like that creativity, like you said, and reinventing what you already have.
Yeah,
I love that though.
And seeing the beauty in what's already there, but just seeing it in a different way. Like really seeing that item as beautiful, and you don't have to throw it out. There's something that you could do with it. Or if you are done with it, then deal with it properly. Donate it, or recycle it. There's so many different, choices that we can make through the process, which I talk about in my book too.
Okay.
Just because it can get confusing, knowing what to do. So, just following sort of that guideline of just thinking about what you've got, reinventing what's there, thrifting what you're missing, then looking at ethical brands.
Oh, I love that. Do you give brands in the book?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's actually an app that's really helpful.
Okay.
It's called Good On You. So Good On You is basically a platform where you can, before you're thinking of shopping with a specific brand, you can type in that brand, and Good On You gives you a rating of whether it's good for people and planet or not.
I like that.
So it addresses things like fair trade. Are the garment workers being paid properly? Do they have, safe working conditions?
Yeah.
Do they have a lunch break? Can they actually just go to the bathroom when they need to? Simple things that we don't even think about.
Wow. So some of them
they're dealing with.
That's a bit messed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so you can look at all of that. You can look at, how they deal with, recycling, how much energy they're using. There's a lot of different divisions that they break down. So then you're more empowered as a consumer to know whether they're doing the right thing or not. And then you can make the choice from there. So apps like that are really helpful to shop new, but shop mindfully.
I like that. Help you navigate that.
Yeah, that's right. It really does.
That's great. So there's no excuses really nowadays to...
I don't think so. Yeah. No. And I think, it's okay not to know, which is why I wrote the book, It's okay not to know. Like we're all just learning and growing, But start asking those questions and thinking for yourself, because, so much of fashion we just get fed. You know, wear this. You'll be loved if you wear this.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need this to be accepted. Like all this stuff, all this
Feeding
pressure,
people's insecurities as well.
big
Yeah.
time. You know, and social media is great in so many ways, but it's also not great if you're not sure. You know,
Great if you're not sure. I like that. Yeah.
So just empowering yourself to make those choices in fashion.
I love that you have in the book though. That's so great. So can you take us through a few like chapters? Like, so for example, the chapter of Lee, there's a chapter that has your thesaurus, obviously.
Yeah.
What else? What other goodies do we have in there?
So I definitely start the book around the concept of you are what you wear.
Yeah.
So I talk about, you know, the power that our clothes can have. I talk about why we need a fashion revolution, which is, you know, what we've been saying, talking about the garment workers and things like that. Then I talk a little bit about my journey to opulence, so how I kind of got to this place of, you know, I really don't buy much new things. Occasionally I'll buy ethical sneakers, or I'll buy, you know, kind of smalls and essentials, things like that. But I try not to buy new. So I talk about that in my book a lot in that chapter, and, you know, just the journey for me, how I woke up. I was definitely like a more is more girl. I needed this, I needed that, I needed this to be accepted.
Really, I can't imagine that. That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, who was that girl?
Yeah.
But it's all part of the journey, right? And so, you know, I when I went overseas for a while, I had this massively heavy suitcase, which was really hurting my back. And I wasn't wearing half of it. And I was like, what am I doing?
Wow.
I just had this real sort of awakening of who am I trying to impress?
Started questioning yourself.
Like I don't need all this stuff. So, yeah, I talk about that. And then I talk about the repair revolution and kind of making do and mending. So if you think back to like your grandmother's day, you know, she was putting buttons back on shirts. She was mending holes in things. She wasn't going to H&M to buy a new T-shirt. So that mindfulness around making our clothes last and repairing things, like that's kind of actually a luxury. You know, if you have clothes that are well made, that's luxury because you can continue to repair them instead of buying new, right?
True.
So talk about that and how it's really making a resurgence. So that whole kind of make, do and mend era people are really tapping back into now. Like, I don't know if you saw during the Olympics, that swimmer who was knitting in the grandstand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that.
And it went viral because he's this like, you know, like kind of buff like athlete and he's like knitting. And everyone just went nuts for it because that's so old school and cool, right? So yeah, I tap into that, and then I tap into the real kind of meaty like thrift stuff. So lots of tips, tricks, what to look out for, how I do it, how to kind of simplify things.
Yes.
And then I tap into some really nice stories, some transformational stories. So a lot of my thrift community from Instagram is in the book, and they are from different walks of life. You know, there's transgender, there's androgynous, there's people living with disabilities, you know, there's people of color, there's Asians, there's just so many different mix of amazing style expressions. So I tap into their stories and have them share their connection to clothing.
Amazing.
And that's fascinating. There's a chapter about kids and thrifting. Because I don't have kids, but I've got a lot around me. So I've sort of seen how their mums, you know, work with them in thrifting, and it's unreal. So I wanted to include that. And then at the back, there's an interview series, which is great. There's different interviews from thought leaders around the world. So one of the creators of Fashion Revolution, which I was talking about before, Carrie Summers. So I talked to her. I talked to the first Tongan Sports Illustrated model. So that's a really cool one. And then another friend who's all about upcycling and converting things.
Upcycling, what's that?
So upcycling is when you take a garment and you make it more elevated, expensive, or beautiful than before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you could take a sweater and if you upcycle it, you might cover it in crystals, or you might cover it in, you know, some beautiful like hand painting. So that's called upcycling or converting. So you convert something. So one of my friends is just, she's insane with this stuff. She takes like old Burberry coats and turns them into like jumpsuits, and she's wild. So we talked to her. There's a lot in there.
I was going to say that sounds like a few books in one.
Yeah. It's pretty chunky, and there's lots of great quotes in there too.
Yeah, that Gandhi quote I really liked.
Yeah. So it's all about, the finest cloth is completely irrelevant if it's making people hungry and homeless and unhappy. So you could have this, bougie high-end designer, but if it's not doing the right thing by people and the planet, then is it really beautiful?
True.
So, yeah, quotes like that, quotes from designers, quotes from my community.
Yeah.
It's such a community love letter because, that thrift community that I have is just unreal. We all help each other.
Supportive.
We give each other tips. We're like just always bigging each other up with our thrift outfits. And it's such a vibe. So I really wanted to honour them in the book too. So there's lots of great wisdom from them just on how thrifting has been really transformational for them too. So yeah, it's a juicy read.
I was going to say, yeah, it's awesome that you've incorporated like people from around the world. So it's not just like a perspective of Australian thrifting.
Exactly.
It's worldwide.
Yeah, I really focused on that and that took a bit of time, especially during lockdown.
Yeah.
But what was great was we just kind of remotely worked together to like style the shoot. So a lot of my followers are in America. So I would say, okay, I want you to find a look in your wardrobe. What designer inspires you or what do you want to say? So we would like digitally put it together.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then they would take the photos and then send them to me. So it was like this really great, like kind of, digital process of still a real sense of community.
I love that. New age. Yeah.
It's how we do things,
True,
right?
Exactly. You got to make do, and especially during lockdown.
Yeah.
But that's, wow.
So I'm really thrilled to have so many different, like you say, people from around the world in it because it's a global issue and it's a global movement and
facts, yeah.
We really need to change the way that we see fashion and we really need to change our relationship with it. We need to reconnect with our clothes.
I feel like that. I was going to say, I feel like everyone's disconnected from the clothes, from where they come from. It's like kind of with food as well, but
big time.
It's just like that, the process as well that goes into it.
Yeah, we've lost all of that, and that's why it's so amazing to see it coming back now. Even, it starts at the high-end designers and then it filters down. So you're seeing a lot of the big designers now making things that are more conscious and, like Hermes is working with like mushrooms to make leather.
Oh, wow.
So there's all this cool stuff going on. You can make leather from pineapples. It's called Pinatex.
Wow.
You can make it from cactus. You can even make like a material, like a fiber from milk.
This is
spider webs. There's just some cool stuff going on.
Shit.
Honestly.
Wow.
So there's been a real wake-up call.
Yeah.
And it's quite amazing what's going on. Like the latest Alexander McQueen collection is devoted to the mycelium network, so the mushroom network.
I've seen Fantastic Fungi. I know that.
How good is that documentary?
It's great. I need to watch it again. I love that one.
How good
Game
is that?
changer. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And the visuals at the beginning.
I was gonna say it gives me like remember Avatar?
Yes.
That like that magical,
oh my God.
but it's real life.
It's
like
real.
That's what's happening. And then when they go into the mycelium under the earth, it's just like.
And just what it does for people's health too.
It's
and
amazing.
It's the same as CBD oil.
Yeah.
Like that's just been such a game changer for me too, with my sleep, with my work, with my like clarity, and like we've ignored nature for so long, and she has all the answers. You know,
you're right. All the answers. You're right.
So it's really like reconnecting back to our clothes, reconnecting back to nature.
Yeah.
Even the color palette of Mother Nature
is incredible. Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, that's where we get all our colors from.
Right?
Yeah.
And even the trees. Like my husband hugs wherever we go.
Yeah.
When we park, we get out of the car. He's got to go hug a tree because he has to connect.
Yeah, of course.
And I love that he does that.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I was like, why is he hugging a tree? And then I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I do it too.
You go hug the tree with you.
Totally. Yeah. Because the trees are our ancestors and they have so much to teach us. And then that reconnects us back to our Indigenous culture as well. Like they have just the most profound wisdom that we've been ignoring for way too long.
Yeah.
So, once we can connect back to our clothes and the earth. Just, it's been a game changer. It's changed my life, honestly. So that's why I wanted to write about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's, our fashion can just be so powerful.
Yeah, because connected to everything. It's all,
It really is. It's connected to community. It's connected to, you know, the planet. It's connected to animals. It's connected to...
True, that's another thing. Like animals, you know, animals and like obviously people are getting exploited, you know, working these tough hours and not getting paid enough. But obviously like there's animals and plant that are all, the collateral damage is intense.
Testing on animals.
Oh, true.
All that
that's
horrific
right.
stuff that goes on for our pleasure.
Yeah, it's pretty sick when you think about it.
It's bad, you know, and there's just so much that's, it's like, you think back to our grandma's day, and then the Industrial Revolution hit, and then we just got greedy and wanted everything conveniently and quickly.
Instant, you
know, and the concept of, this is something I talk about in my book too, like natural dyes. So Mother Nature provides all these things that you can dye clothes with. You can use avocado seeds to dye T-shirts. You can use onion skins.
Wow.
You can use turmeric. You can use, you know, mint. You can use, there's all this coffee,
incredible.
tea. There's all these natural, you know, elements that you can use to dye your clothes. That's what Cleopatra used to do. They even used to use beetles and things like that to get their clothes. Before we had synthetic clothing, we didn't need synthetic dyes.
True. Where were they getting those colours from? Wow.
We're getting them from nature.
That's beautiful, yeah.
And they say that you can tell the colour of the season when you look at the rivers in China because the rivers are coloured with the fake synthetic dyes.
Oh, no.
And that's the thing, like our clothes have to go through so many processes to be produced. They have to be washed. They have to be, you know, chemically treated to set the colour. It's just... Twisted, right?
Yeah, that's very,
So when we can connect back to that and start using what Mother Nature's got right for us.
Yeah, right there for us, abundant. Like
the fashion looks way cooler anyway.
Yeah, true. And you probably feel more of a connection to it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So for my wedding, we dyed my bridesmaids' dresses with brown onion skins.
Oh, wow.
And
I love that.
It made this beautiful, like rusty copper kind of peachy, like I've never seen before. Just incredible.
Its own colour.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So just little things like that. And the girls loved them because they were like, oh my God, I was dyed by an onion. They were like, they just thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't smell because you don't use the flesh, you just use the skin. So my local grocer thought I was nuts because I was like, can I have a bag of onion skins? They were like, what?
Why?
What for? And then when I showed them, they're like, oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
And they kept giving me bags of onion skins after that.
Still to this day.
But yeah, it's very simple. It's really simple to do. You just heat them in water.
Yeah.
And then you just emerge. It's got to be a natural fibre because cotton, silk, wool, linen will hold the colour better. But that's better anyway than using, you know, polyester and whatever. So it's pretty easy to do. Even if you just Google, like, how do I dye with onion skins?
Yeah.
It'll
so it's actually easier to be more sustainable, would you say?
I would say that it is. Yeah. I think it's not a fast person's game.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
That's the thing. Slow fashion, they don't call it slow fashion for nothing. Like, it is slower. So, you know, when you're like, if, for example, you're trying to thrift a jacket, you might not find it straight away. Sometimes you do. So, but that for me has kind of become this great like treasure hunt, and it's made me appreciate things more.
I was going to say.
Instead of just getting this fix whenever I want it, sometimes I have to wait for things, and I love that.
And that's good. It kind of teaches you life. You have to wait for good things take time.
That's right. And when you find something, it's like you've won the lotto.
Yeah,
it's like the best feeling.
I love that. Yeah,
when you find that thrift unicorn, you know, whether it's like, you know, a designer piece or like just a great pair of shoes that you've been like looking for or whatever. When you find it, it's like, it's the best, man.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it is slower, and I think in the beginning it can seem overwhelming. But once you get into the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy, and it's a lot less expensive.
Cheaper,
it's much cheaper because, especially with thrifting, you are saving so much money. And that money that you're spending goes back into the mission of a charity. So I work for Salvos.
That's right. You're Salvos Ambassador. Yeah.
Yeah. So the money that you spend at a Salvos store, that goes into the mission of the Salvation Army. So they have programs for all sorts of things, domestic violence, homelessness, drug and alcohol addiction, natural disasters. So all the floods that we've just seen, they're on the front line of that. So when you go to a thrift store, that's where the money's going. It's going to help those people.
Yeah.
So your clothes can be that powerful.
Wow.
And I love that. To me, it's just a no-brainer. It's like, well, why would I go anywhere else? I don't know.
It's like I said before with the vote with your dollar. I think
vote with your dollar. You really can. You really can. Like just doing that as an individual, you're making that conscious choice and you're making that statement of this is what I want to spend my money on. And once we change our mind of, but it's old stuff or it's not cool.
Yeah.
That's total BS. Once you change your mind around that, which is what I really hope my book will help people to do, it's like game on because there's just unlimited possibilities, I feel like even more so than, a mainstream store because everything's just kind of, like I said, fed to you. It's on the mannequins. It's all organised.
True, it's on the mannequin. Yeah, it's like everyone wants to look like the mannequin.
Yeah, and then you go to a party and someone else has got the same thing on.
Oh, imagine that. That's never happened to me, thank God.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that'd be... Yeah. Come on. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what I've noticed in the collective too. People are really starting to resonate with thrift and more conscious fashion because we want to be individual. We're sick of being that, cookie cutter and being told what to do and told what to wear and told what to buy. And it's like, no, man, like I want to be me.
Yeah, look how you want to look, dress how you want to dress. Yeah.
Yeah, and thrift really gives you that opportunity to just, be open and play and try things on and don't worry about gender or size or section.
Yeah.
Labels. Doesn't matter. If you got a good vibe, you got a good vibe.
That's
You're going to look cool anyway.
Rock with the vibe. Yeah, I love that. So we'll stay with the Salvos while we're here. So they're everywhere, right? Because I know there's that big one which I'd never seen before until that day. Where is it? In Tempe?
In Tempe.
Tempe, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a supermarket.
Yeah, it's huge,
right?
Yeah.
So there's 350 plus Salvo stores around the country.
Okay.
I think we've got like about 100 and something in New South Wales.
Wow.
We've just got a new one in Bondi, which is really cool, in Bondi Junction.
Oh, nice.
On Oxford Street there, just kind of near the bus depot. It's a really great little store. So that's a new one, and we're definitely going to be opening more and more and more.
Nice.
So they're around.
They're popping up more and more. Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got, Vinnie's and Red Cross and Lifeline and Anglicare. We've got quite a few different thrift stores. They all have their separate missions, but it really is kind of back to the same thing of being of service and doing something more positive. And it's all based on donations. So all of the clothes that you see in the Salvos are donated by the public.
Yeah.
But it costs the Salvos millions of dollars a year to process that.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we get can't be sold. It's not good enough quality.
Okay.
So
also there's like a full quality check in.
Definitely.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to want to buy stuff that's
facts.
gross.
Yeah.
So there's definitely there's a process and unfortunately some things can't be sold, they can't be recycled, so they have to be discarded. But we do our best to sell as much as we can. But it's kind of a lovely process, the fact that people can donate consciously what they no longer need.
Yeah.
And then that goes back into the community and then that does great work. So for me, I see the clothes as like these little change agents. They're just kind of waiting for you to come in and go, okay, let's do something cool today, you know? So my favorite place to look in a Salvos is like the discount rack. I'm always like challenging myself.
Yeah.
It's $2. Someone's like, no one's in love with it anymore. I'm like, let's make it really cool. Let's make it beautiful.
Upcycle.
So people are like losing their mind over it, It's like I believe in the underdog, I guess. So I love looking at the discount rack. I love looking in the 50% off, like just what can I do
just
today?
to challenge your
I love
challenge
it.
your creativity. I like that.
I love it, And I think, thrifting has really taught me to see the clothes like that, to see them as just endless possibilities. So could I crop it like, your sister does? Like,
Yeah.
could I add something to it? Could I wear it in a different way? So I'm always like wearing stuff in weird ways. Like I'll take
Yeah.
my husband's business shirts for
Yeah.
work and I'll wear them as a skirt. Or I'll take one
Damn.
of his vests and I'll wear it as a corset.
Wow.
So I'm always like
Yeah.
restyling things. I
Yeah.
think, just because a garment is designed to serve a traditional function doesn't mean it can't moonlight as something completely different.
Yeah.
And that's another great way to get more wear out of your wardrobe too. Like see things in a different way and
Wow.
just play around with them.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And I love that we're coming into fall soon or autumn because then you can start layering and doing cool stuff.
That's what my sister says. She likes winter because
Oh
of
my God, I love it.
because of the layering.
The layering Olympics, I call it. I love it. It's
Wow.
the best.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Summer's brutal. It's hard to be chic in summer.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I give it my best.
So autumn and like winter's when like the fashion peaks, the
Yes.
styling peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're going to New York in a week, which is
that their winter?
wild. So they're just finishing winter and they're coming into spring.
Okay.
But it's still going to be a little chilly.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be layering. But I'm going to challenge myself to only take like 2 outfits and then I'm going to thrift the
Oh
rest.
wow! On the fly for the launch and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'm
Hey,
mental.
yeah.
I don't know what's
you
wrong
love
with
these
me.
challenges. Go.
But I'm
keep
like,
it up. Yeah.
I just feel like, it's so freeing to not need much.
Yeah. I've
You
heard
know?
of this. The minimalism.
How good are those
Yeah.
guys?
I
they're
was
great.
watching it. Yeah.
They're great.
It's
See, just watching stuff like that's great too for shifting your consciousness.
Yeah.
Like there's so many great docos and there's another doco called The True Cost.
Okay.
And The True Cost is all about, the true cost of the fashion industry. So it's a little bit scary,
Yeah.
like to see it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then it really changes the way you look at things. When I watched that doco years ago, it just, it really upset me, but it just really gave me a kick up the butt
Yeah.
of like, what have I been doing? So just watching things like that is great too.
Yeah.
And the reason we're going to New York is there's an event there called Refashion Week, which is basically like the thrift version of New York Fashion Week.
Oh wow.
So it's created by the Department of Sanitation of New York. So it's a zero waste initiative. So it's all about encouraging people to use the clothing that's already in existence and showing
Nice.
them that it's just as beautiful and it can be just as elegant and elevated and opulent as the normal way that we perceive new fashion, right? So I'm going there to do a panel discussion with people from my book.
Oh, nice.
And then we're going to Goodwill's giving us a bag of unsellable clothes. And then we're going to like create outfits out of it.
Wow.
So just really, trying to tap people into let's change the narrative
Yeah.
around the way we see the discarded and the way that we see secondhand as an inferior offering. It's not true at all. So yeah, it's amazing to think that we're going to get on a plane.
Yeah. Thank God. Finally.
That's weird
yeah.
though. I'm like, oh, you sure?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait. I feel really honoured that I get to do that.
That's where you're launching it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So is all your New York fam, like you're following, they're already on the edge of their seats waiting? Yeah,
they're all pumped.
Nice.
And I've bribed some of them to talk. And
oh, wow.
so this is the first time some of us are going to meet. So it's,
Oh, so you haven't even met. It's all,
yeah.
whoa, this
We're
is big.
all really good mates.
Yeah.
But we've never seen each other.
Wow.
But what we've shared, especially during COVID and with the book, and I feel like they're some of my bestest friends in the world. It's really
That's
profound,
awesome. Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So we're all joking when we see each other. We're all just going to lose it, like, oh, it's so good to see you.
The energy will be
The energy's
flying.
just going to go off the charts.
Wow.
And it was really great when we went there in 2020. Like Lee and I would always, dress really well, and it really kind of blew a lot of people's minds that it was thrift.
Yeah.
So going back 2 years later, when the collective has definitely woken up more, it's going to be
you might see a
really
bit of a-
cool because it's going to be like, wow, okay,
See a bit of a
the tribe's
change.
expanding and people are waking up, and so I'm thrilled to Thrilled to go there and be asked to go there and do that. So
how does the launch work? I've never, like the book launch, is it?
Well, I have no idea. I'm just making this up as I go along. Yeah. But what we've planned is there's this really cool spot in the middle of, well, it's kind of more downtown New York, called the Bowery.
Okay.
So there's a great venue there called the Canvas, and the Canvas has all these different sort of small businesses and like great ethical labels and artists who are doing cool stuff with rubbish, and it's just this kind of little hub for sustainable style and, you know, more conscious dressing. So they've given me a space there, and we put the event out this week on Eventbrite. Yeah. And so people come along.
It's open to the public?
So it's a ticketed event, but anyone that buys a ticket, it's only like $5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you come along and listen to our panel discussions. So I'm going to talk about the book and the concept of what Opshopulence is, which is really a mindset, and it's a movement towards a more conscious closet.
Yeah.
But also just the way that you change your mind and the way that you rethink fashion can be really transformational, not just for you, but for people around you. So I'm going to talk about that. And then one of my guests, Jess, she's going to talk about androgynous style.
Yep.
So in the book, she shares her coming out story, and it's really profound. And she talks about how thrift really helped her accept that she was a gay woman, but she really presents masculine, you know? She kind of really learnt about that along the way. She just knew that she'd never felt right, you know, and she was born a girl, so she was meant to dress like a girl, but she didn't want to. She wanted to dress like a guy, you know? So I think that's such a great conversation to have, you know, because we all have a different way of expressing ourselves, right?
Facts.
So she's going to talk about that. And then another one of the girls, Caitlin, she's going to talk about intentional thrifting, which is a really cool concept, because something that happened for me when I've thrifted all my life, but when I really got into it as a career, I think I got really excited in the beginning, and I was buying too much stuff again, but calling it sustainable. So I was kind of like an eco hoarder, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, this is not really working. I've got still too many things. So Caitlin talks about being really intentional with what you buy secondhand. So don't just buy a whole bunch of stuff because it's cheap. Buy it because you really love it. Buy it because you need it. Buy it because you know you'll wear it and you'll cherish it. You know, like, and it's the same with when you buy new. Like, I always try to ask myself those questions. Do I really need it? Do I really love it? Will I really wear it? Can I wear it in 3 different ways? So, yeah, I love that she has that take on it, just making us aware that, you know, you don't need to buy everything. Yeah. So she's going to talk about that. And then one of the other guests, Kate, the one I was mentioning before, she's the conversion queen. So she just completely upcycles. Yeah. She just completely transforms things. She's insane.
Wow.
And she's British like me, and she's just so funny. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Yeah.
And then another girl, Sabra, she's going to talk about how thrifting has really changed how she feels about herself and her style. So it's really tapped her into, like I was saying with Lee, really tapped her into who she is.
Wow.
And you should see this girl's style. She is off the charts. She's just it's so considered and cool, and like the details and oh man, she's unreal. My Style Is My Brand is her Instagram. If you want to check her out, her style's just I'm obsessed. She's so cool. So, and then Lee's going to talk about 5th dimensional fashion.
Brother Lee's I love it.
So it's going to be a hell of a chat.
That's a big panel. I was going to say, so it's like a proper few-hour event.
So we'll probably do the panel it'll probably go for like an hour, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the kind of gathering afterwards. So with the thrift styling, we're just going to get the audience to join us as well. So like, come up, look at what we've got. What do you think we could do with it? So I want it to be really interactive, not just us going, hi, we're stylists and look at us. I want them
Everyone's involved.
I want them to get in there and see what they can do and just kind of do it together, you know?
Like a bit of a workshop type.
Yeah, which I think will be really fun. And just something a bit different and just a great way to celebrate the book, but really kind of show the book in action. So that was kind of my vision with it. And yeah, they said yes.
That's awesome. Are you going to film it?
Yes.
Great. I want to see it. Yeah.
I'm going to try and do it live. So I guess I just set my phone up on a tripod.
Yeah, and then you just click the live and then make sure you save it.
So how do you do that? Because that makes me
Instagram?
nervous. Yes.
See, this is the thing. If I was you, I'd screen record it whilst it's live.
Yeah, that's smart.
Just in case. Because I used to go on do like kind of like live podcasts during lockdown.
Yeah.
And sometimes my phone would die and it wouldn't save.
God, that
and I was
makes
like,
me so nervous.
yeah. So best thing I would say, screen record it.
So you can screen record for an hour?
Yeah, for as long as you want.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Maybe don't take my word. I'm pretty sure.
But when you save on Instagram, is there like, where is the save button for live?
So when it finishes, it'll be like, do you want to save this live?
Right.
That's the thing. So if it runs out of battery, maybe have it on like a charger the whole time.
Yes. Okay. That's smart.
Just so it doesn't,
My phone's pretty good with the juice, but that's...
Just in case though.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Or maybe have 2 phones going. I don't know.
Maybe I should just find a nice videographer and hire
true.
them.
You never know. New York, there's probably so many people that would be just down to experience it, be part of it.
That's what I was thinking. So I might actually reach out too. But yeah, I really want to capture it because a lot of my community's here. So, they're kind of bummed. But I'll definitely do some launches here too.
Okay,
when I get back.
Nice. Okay. Anything in the works yet, or this is just...
I've been thinking about this idea of kind of having like something cool in like, if I'm allowed to, in one of the warehouses.
Ooh.
Like the sorting warehouse.
Oh, wow.
Having like a cool party or dinner or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if
I love that vibe, like in an actual, to capture that feeling. Yeah,
like this is where it happens, but make the space really, chic as hell and
thrift the whoa, that's crazy. Yeah.
So that's kind of what's come to me. I'm like, how do I make this happen?
Yeah.
But we'll probably do a couple of things in the stores too. So I'll probably do something at the Bondi store. And,
nice.
Just kind of get this little baby out there.
So good. Yes, I love it. And it's already a bestseller.
I know,
is that
that's
what I read?
Insane.
Can you talk about that a bit?
I was not expecting that. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I self-published, which is a beast in itself. I spoke to a couple of publishers and they just didn't get me. And so I was a bit disheartened for a while. And then I was really fortunate to meet this amazing lady who is basically like a self-publishing coach. So I worked with her and she empowered me to do it myself.
Okay.
So she understands the whole process.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. So she talked me through it and was there every step of the way. And then we launched it on Amazon, Booktopia and Book Depository. But with Amazon, it took... I think it was 3 days and it went into #1 bestseller in the fashion and textile category.
Wow, within 3 days.
So I launched it on the Friday and by Monday my book mentor rang me and said,
that's amazing.
This happened. I'm like, what?
Wow.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's the strength of my Instagram community because that's where I launched it.
Yeah.
I didn't launch it anywhere else.
Wow.
I did it there first.
So wow, that's awesome.
And I didn't do any teasing about it. I never mentioned I was writing a book.
So did you just drop it? You didn't give a trailer?
It.
Oh, you did some Beyonce type.
I did.
Yeah. Let's go, Faye. That is dope. Yeah. Wow.
I love that you said that because that's what I was thinking. I was like, Beyonce wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah,
she would just drop it.
Drops it because they're all so dead. The bees or whatever. She's got a crew. Their name.
Right.
That's amazing.
So I just dropped it.
Nice.
And it just went crazy. So that was the strength of the community for sure.
That's all. Congratulations. That's because that's big.
I know.
That's Amazon. Yeah.
I didn't expect that. Honestly, that's still wild, and it stayed in the top 10 the whole time.
Oh wow!
So it hasn't moved
out
of
there
it. It's still there.
Oh, let's go!
I beat House of Gucci for like 3 days.
Really?
I don't know how that happened.
Damn!
But that just made me so proud to see secondhand
doing its thing,
standing its ground amongst the kind
giants.
of I was like, we're getting somewhere. This is really cool. Like, that's what I want this book to do. I want it to just really shift things, and
so that's the intention, right?
To really shift things.
Yeah.
It's definitely a book for thrifters, but it's also a book for the not yet converted. I really want it to get to people who don't know about the fashion industry and the impact it can have on people and the planet, but also that they don't know that secondhand and thrift can change your life, actually. So, you know, I really want to get to them too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of twofold. But yeah, it seems to be doing its thing so far.
That's great. Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That must have been so, like, just the feeling. Like, how did you feel? Like, it would have just been
I was
so
like,
affirming.
I nearly crashed the car, honestly, because she rang me when we were in the car.
Yeah.
And Lee was with me, and he was just as shocked. He was
Yeah.
like, babe, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell just happened? Because I didn't even know I was going to write a book. So it's just interesting. I think, you know, you would know this too. When you follow that feeling, when you follow that passion and that intuition, the universe really shows up because you're showing up, you know. And
I like that.
And I think the big shift for me was, you know, coming from that definitely more is more product and, you know, kind of result of the intense fashion industry that I was. And then having that wake up call, I think it just, you know, it just really was that moment of, oh, so I could be of service through the things that I wear and the way that I show up in the world. Like, my style can be of service. Holy moly.
I like that. Yeah.
So everything changed. And I read this Deepak Chopra book, and I think it was the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
That is such a good one, bro.
And he says, always ask yourself, how may I serve? And that just blew my mind, because whilst my background is television, so I'd always been working in television, and whilst I loved it, there was always this thing at the back of my head about fashion, and I didn't know what it was, but it never went away. So when I read that, I'm like, oh, I need to be of service through fashion, but how do I do that? Like, it took me a good sort of 4 years to figure it out. And I left the TV world and just really bunkered down into what I could sense was going on but didn't quite know.
Wow.
But yeah, that book changed everything for me. Always ask yourself, how may I serve?
So that's...
Because when you work from that space, it never feels like work.
True.
Ever. Like, that's one small problem, though. I don't know how to put it down because I love it so much.
Yeah.
I'm like always working because it's my passion. It's my purpose.
It's not even work, purpose, yes.
Yeah, it really is. It just drives me. And even though I had moments writing this book where, you know, ask Lee, I was like, I can't do this. It's too hard. And I was like in the corner crying. Yeah. But I never once thought I'm going to stop. I just knew that I had to finish it, and I knew that I had to do it, and it wasn't even about me. I was just the human who was the one that's meant to do this. Yeah,
that's deep.
So I was like, okay, well, I've got no choice.
That's deep. Know? Yeah.
And it just taught me so much. It taught me so much about the fashion industry, but it also showed me how much I still didn't know. You know, like, especially for people living with disabilities. Like, we have two of our nephews in our family that have a disability. Okay. And then one of my dear friends has Down syndrome. And I never even thought that getting dressed would be hard for them.
True. Yeah, it's...
But talking to their mums and really connecting to what that's like for them just really opened up a whole new world for me, and it's called adaptive fashion. And adaptive fashion is fashion that is adapted to suit people who are living with a disability. So for you and I, right, it's really easy to do up our shoelaces. But for my friend Simone, who's living with Down syndrome, she can't do that. So there's this great brand called Every Human, and they make shoes that have just got, you know, cool shoes like we wear, like cool high tops and cool trainers, but they've just got Velcro
straps. They just
or they've got magnetic clips.
Ooh.
And it's the same with jackets. You know, so stuff like that. I'm so grateful for all the research that I did. You know, it just wow.
That's great that you're shedding light on that, because people don't think, like, I don't think that's in people's minds. You know what I mean?
There isn't. I mean, in Australia alone, I think there's like 4 million people living with disability,
Mm.
but yet the industry is still not really serving them.
True.
So, yeah, stuff like that just made me go, wow, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And there's a real interesting shift on Instagram now too. There's a lot of influencers who are coming forward who are living with a disability, and they're sharing, you know, what fashion is like for them. And it's so empowering and inspiring to see, you know, just also to realize that there's so much out there that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to be able-bodied, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the interesting thing with that word disabled. You know, Simone is so able, and she's so, you know, open to doing things.
Yeah.
And we have to change the way that we...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, say those words, because words are powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like they're even able to do things better than us in other... Like, I've seen... My mum always shows me, like, disabled kids' art.
Oh, my gosh. It's
like
insane,
painting.
right?
It's absolutely... It's like top of the top. I don't know. Like, when I see it, I'm like, wow.
They just have a different way, a much more profound way of expressing themselves. They come from such a sensory place, and such a wholesome place. I know with Simone, her art's beautiful too, you know, and just the way that she loves too. Like, she's so pure and just, she's beautiful, you know, like, and we just, I don't know, we forget how to be like that. We grow up and we forget to just be that pure spirit, you know. So Simone teaches me a lot. So I'm really grateful to the book for that too. It's just really, opened me up. And this other concept called enclothed cognition. So enclothed cognition is basically this scientific theory, and it's been proven that our clothes can change our state. So, you know, like we were saying before, wearing different colours, or, you know, if you're having a bad day and you're not feeling good about yourself, and especially as a woman, you're not feeling good about your body, you know, you could put those clothes on and they just make you want to hide, you know, or you put something else on and it makes you feel confident, you know. So, enclothed cognition, like that was, I was like... Enclothed
cognition, wow.
Wild, right?
And that's like scientifically like
the
proven.
Science behind our style.
Wow.
Yeah.
Science behind the style, like that.
Yeah, so that's another chapter in the book, and that was just, I just so enjoyed learning about that, because I always knew that, you know, clothes made me feel good, and then there were others that made me feel crap, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's a thing, like, you know.
It's literally, wow. I want to look that up. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I'll send you some stuff on it, some of the things that I found, which just, these two scientists did like a whole kind of experiment.
Yeah.
They put some people in like a doctor's coat, and then they put other people in a painter's outfit, and they observed how they acted. So the people in the doctor's coats were kind of more like, you know, kind
very,
of, you know,
official
and quite, you know, sticking their shoulders out and feeling, you know, pretty happy about themselves because they're doctors, you know. And then the people in the painter stuff were more creative, and they were more open and communicative and fascinating.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these are all the amazing elements of fashion that, you know, we don't think of. But fashion is such a cerebral thing to me. I think a lot of people can think it's just frivolous. But it's so intelligent.
Yeah, there's layers to it.
Yeah, there's layers, literally. You know, there's just such a, it's just such a thinking person's topic, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, which is what I love. I love using my brain and learning, you know, and fashion has taught me so much. I'm so grateful to it, honestly.
I love it. Science behind the style. I might put that in a bar. That's nice.
Hell yeah.
That is a good one.
We need a t-shirt.
Yeah. Do you actually make, like, physically, do you ever, like, make clothes? Like...
Yeah, I do. I customize a lot of things. I crop a lot of stuff. I embellish things. I'm not great on a machine, but I'm pretty good at hand stitching and things like that. But something I love to do is work with seamstresses and designers to reimagine clothing. So, you know, my skills, you know, are not to the level that they are. But if I want to add like an asymmetrical panel, which is like a kind of, an odd angle, like trim to a jacket, then I'll find the material, take it to my dressmaker and say, I want to do this. Can you help me? And I'll use thrift. And so we kind of embark on this journey together of, recreating something. So I really like that. One day I'd love to have like a thrift atelier. So it's like a thrift is like an atelier is like a warehouse, like a fashion house, right?
Yeah.
So I'd love to have different creatives and designers, and we're just reimagining exclusively thrift clothing into these high-end, beautiful pieces.
Wow.
So just using what's in existence. Because I kind of do a little bit of that, as I say, with my seamstress. So I'd like to do more of that one day.
That's awesome. It's a lot on the horizon. Do you reckon there's another book on the horizon? I know this is a bit soon.
I feel like there is, actually. Yeah? I already kind of have an idea, which is, I hate myself for saying that.
No, that's
because this has been such a big process oh my God, full on.
Whenever you're ready though. But yeah, you think there's another one?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I think probably more focused on the stories. Kind of more like fashion fairy tales or something.
Ooh, is that the title right there? Damn, that sounds good. Yeah. You heard it here first on Midnight Mood. Good Lord. That's awesome.
I'd like to do something tapping more into like artisan culture and different cultures as well. Like, and how they create and how they adorn themselves and how they express themselves and the stories behind that. I think that would be beautiful to share. Yeah. So, yeah, it probably involves me going to a few different places around the world as well, I'd say. But yeah, I definitely I just like telling stories.
Yeah, and people tell stories through their clothing. That's the thing. My mom showed me some.
I mean, think about your culture. The traditional.
True.
The traditional
kente
like
cloths and all that. Like
how divine.
It's true. They
so
hold a lot of
thought.
wisdom, and you're right.
Spirituality and a lot of wisdom and a lot of like love. We need to see more of that. We need to celebrate that more.
Yeah, we need to see fashion more like on a deeper level, not just like some clothing that you put on. Yeah. It's there's way more to it, and that's what this book is definitely doing. And even this conversation has opened up a lot of things in me. I'm like, wow. So hopefully when people hear this, they'll definitely like. I like how you said before, change the narrative. I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
that's profound.
Change the narrative around the way that we see secondhand.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people see it as great now, but I think there's still that perception that you have to buy new and you need the shiny and you need the brand and you need the expensive designer this and that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't buy something new if you really love it. I have some beautiful pieces. I have some designer bags that I cherish. And I wear them constantly. So, I don't believe in saying you can't do that. Yeah. It's just really do it mindfully and buy it because you love it. Balance, exactly, and just really sort of thinking more about that. But then for me, the first port of call is always to change the narrative around what's already there. So whether that be just in the way that we think or the way that we style it or the way that we interpret it, just really understanding that secondhand is so powerful for people and the planet. It can help community, it can help charity. I mean, that's the kind of clothes I want on my back, because I know what I'm wearing and I know what it stands for and
where it comes from.
Yeah, that's why my first chapter is you are what you wear, because
I love that.
So much of what we wear tells a story, and I want to connect to that story. And I think looking around your local area too and seeing what artisans are around. Yeah. My local bootmaker is a total vibe.
That's awesome, yeah.
I had this belt that I got from a fast fashion store years ago and I loved the buckle. But because it was inexpensively made, the belt fell apart. Yeah. And I was devastated because I really liked the buckle. So I took it to my bootmaker and I said, can you take this buckle off and put it on one of your nice leather belts? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So now I've still got like the buckle, but on this great leather belt.
Wow.
And it cost me like $40 to do it. And I wear that belt every day.
Oh, that's amazing.
But that's also supporting my local community and supporting a small business. So looking who's around you.
Yeah.
I did a range of T-shirts to launch my book, and I thrifted all the T-shirts, and I had them embroidered with Opshopulence.
Oh, awesome.
And I found this little local business that does that.
Yeah.
So again, I could support them instead of
Nice.
taking it to this big, fancy embroidery house, wherever that may be. But
I think I saw that, and it's like little T-shirts. Are you gonna sell? Are you selling them?
Yeah, they're for sale.
Oh
yeah.
man,
Yeah.
Where can people get that?
So they're all on my book website, which is opshopulence.com.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Opshopulence. Yeah.
Opshopulence.com.
There's T-shirts on there. There's brooches. There's a video series.
Yeah.
Which is like a 5-part series of me talking about like my favorite kind of restyling tricks and thrifting tips and. So that's a really good one. It's just, easy to watch and kind of get you sort of tapped into the base process of it and, just kind of open your mind.
Nice.
I want to get some stuff on for Lee there eventually. I want some men's stuff on there too.
Yeah.
I mean, the shirts are unisex, so anyone can wear them. But, I'd like to kind of put some things on inspired by him, like, some great, like, crystal brooches and some cool stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
We'll see.
That's mad.
We'll see what we find in New York.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole journey in itself. You're going to come back with new wisdom and new creativity and inspiration. It's going to be
big time.
Yeah.
New York is such a melting pot, and it's such. It just inspires me so much, that city. It opens me up. It changes the way I see things. It just challenges me, and I always come back with more ideas, and my style kind of expands even more.
Yeah.
And you can be sure Lee's going to come back with some rocks for you, some crystals.
Of course.
There's a giant crystal store on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's huge.
Lee can't wait. Yeah.
So that's probably where we have to go first, I'd say. He's traveling all that way with me, bless him. So
yeah,
we definitely got to
shout
get
out
him.
to brother Lee as well.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Lee. We got to get him on as well.
Totally.
We'll have both of you.
That man's wisdom on legs.
Yeah,
honestly.
I know. I was gonna say I do this segment called Quotes of the Day on the radio show.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be like quotes, constant quotes, just every few seconds with Lee.
Totally. Totally. And we were just saying before, like one of his favorite ones is whatever is not from love will be shown for what it is.
I love that. Yeah.
And I love that too. Yeah, I love that too. I hate it when he tells me divine timing when I'm trying to get something done. I'm like, no, but I want it now.
Trying to write a book. Yeah.
But he's always right. He's always got some little nugget.
Those little golden nuggets.
Yeah. And it's funny because he's not on Instagram. He doesn't do social media, which I love. I love that about him. But he is constantly asking, like, there's a few pages that we follow, like spiritual pages, and he's like, what's the wisdom of the day, babe?
What's it?
So, he sends everyone else all these quotes. That's all from me finding them on Instagram.
I'm like, damn, Lee, I'll get like 5. I'm like, but sometimes I really need to hear him. Like, he'll send me one. I'm like, man, that resonates today.
Yeah, but I'm like, babe, don't bomb everyone with like 10. You got to tell them what it is. No, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
No, but it comes on time. It's divine timing.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
That's awesome.
But yeah, whatever is not from love will be shown for what it is. I feel like that's definitely the case in the last few years too.
Yeah. Everything's coming to the light. You're right.
Yeah, we're all waking up, the great awakening, right?
Yeah.
Well, we hope anyway.
Yeah, I think I feel it. I see it. I'm starting to see it as well, finally.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's been interesting though, things that fall away too, right?
Yeah.
Like things, people experiences, whatever, they're like, oh, they're falling away, they're dropping off like flies.
Yeah. But it's good because it's just like, extra baggage, do you know what I mean? And it's just so like, true. I think of it as like, for example, you like the places you're going, you don't want all that weighing you down.
So
do you know what I mean?
Because
there's bigger things on the horizon.
We don't need to pay excess luggage.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Facts.
That shit is expensive.
Yeah. It's too much. You're right. I like that. The excess luggage. Hell no.
No way.
Oh, I love that. Faye, this has been amazing. I don't want to wrap it up yet. I just want to show the book to the camera just so everyone can see it. Everyone. And it's on your website.
It is. It's on opshopulence.com. You can buy it via Amazon globally. But if Amazon's not your vibe, you can check it out on Book Depository and Booktopia as well.
Nice. That's And can you go to local bookstores and find it? Or?
So that's my next step. Once I get back from New York, I'm going to try and get it into. I will get it into some bookstores. I like some of the smaller ones like Berkelau and Ariel.
Yeah.
So I'll go see them and
nice
pimp it out.
Yeah,
and get it in there. And
surely you can just show them our bestseller. Come on.
I'm hoping that'll work. Yeah. And then I'll definitely be. We'll definitely be selling them in Salvos stores as well.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So probably not all the stores, but definitely some select stores.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll
That's
get it
great.
in there too, because it's a good little guide for thrifters.
That's what I was going to say. You go in there and you actually have a bit of a base of what to. Yeah.
And there's some space in the book where you can make notes as well, because I set challenges that you can do, like thrifting challenges and stuff, just to kind of connect you to, whether you're just starting completely fresh or you're kind of, you're getting into it a bit more.
You love your challenges. I love it.
I know, I love it. So there's little kind of challenges that you can embark on, and notes that you can write, and just share your musings and things like that. So especially the paperback, the hardcover is definitely more like a coffee table, which I love, but the paperback is good for just throwing in your bag and taking her thrifting with you.
I also love the graphics in here.
Oh yeah.
Like the pictures, the drawings. Like they're just...
So the drawings are really special because they're done by my friend Indy. That's right, and Indy is 15.
Yeah, break that down. That's amazing.
Right, break that down.
Shout out to Indy.
Shout out to Indy.
She's going to be massive. Well, she already is.
So her Instagram is Thrift with Indy.
Okay.
And she did all of the illustrations, and that in itself was such a beautiful process. Yeah. So that was an amazing process because we really worked. I mean, we're good friends, but we really worked together to create a lot of them. And she would say, "What do you think about this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I love that, but what if we add this bit to it?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, cool idea." Yeah. So it was just such an amazing workshop. And again, we did that all remotely because we couldn't see each other.
True.
Because of lockdown.
Wow.
And then the photos, the ones that were taken here were taken by my beautiful friend Vivian Mayer. She has an Instagram called Power She Is.
Yeah.
So she took all of the amazing photos here, and then the rest of the photos were taken by my community. So they are from different parts of the world. So we worked together remotely to come up with outfits from what they already had.
Wow.
And then they shot the looks and they sent them to me. So that in itself was just incredible.
That's amazing. And you styled all these.
Yeah.
Every picture in here has been styled by you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So whether it was personally or remotely, I definitely had my hand in there.
Nice.
Most of the girls from overseas kind of really just got it. They just did their thing. But we definitely workshopped it. And, it was such a nice process to create like that and to make it such a group effort. And then, when they all saw themselves in the book, it was just so
That'd
nice.
Be amazing. Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow, it's here.
Physically, they can, Wow.
But I just did not expect how long it takes. Holy moly. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Wow.
So to be, here, holding this and being
you're like, wow.
It's here. I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
It's amazing, though, because you brought it from, up there, now it's a physical thing. It's just you really manifested something into the physical. It's something,
And I feel like it got to a point where it wasn't even me anymore. It was just, I don't know, something took over.
Wow. Yeah, no, I feel that, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that.
It was and every time I would get tired or, I'd hit a stumbling block, I'd do a meditation, and then I'd get this great idea, or I'd get this nudge, call this person, or do that. So the journey of this was really profound. It kind of opened me up as well.
Yeah.
To, like you say, manifestation. And I was open to it before, but I really saw it in action with this. Because my human self had moments where I was like, I'm out, I can't do this. This is brutal.
But naturally,
it just kept, just kept ticking over. Interesting.
Wow.
I don't know. And the cover. This is an interesting story too. So I had this done over a year ago, and the process was really cool. we did it through this platform called 99 Designs.
Yeah.
And you basically pitch your concept, your cover, to young creatives, and they all pitch for your job. And the first girl that came through drew this, which is a picture of me. Lee took the photo and she did like an illustrated version.
Yeah.
And she's from Ukraine.
Whoa.
Which is so weird, right? So I just feel really grateful that she gets to be on, you know, her work gets to be out in the world, because as you know, what they're all going through is horrific. And thankfully she's okay. But yeah, Lily drew this and she just got it, you know, so that was a lovely process too. She thrifts over there, so yeah.
That's amazing how
Yeah, so yeah, I know, weird, right?
So weird but magical at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of energy in this book. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm proud of her.
I love it. I just love how it's a her as well.
It totally is. Yeah. It's a total girl, because she's a pain in the butt. She took too long. She took too long to get ready, you know?
Yeah, she had to dress up and, you know, look all fly. Yeah.
She took way too long to look fly.
I love that. Oh, Faye, this has been amazing.
It's been so great.
But I want, what would you leave everyone with? Like, if it was like a final, you know, like what would for everyone to remember? Obviously, they're going to go read the book, but is there anything that you really want to get off your chest? And
I think just whatever you want to do in life, you can do. And that this book has really shown me that. I've definitely had times in my life where I thought I'd found my purpose and I thought I was doing the right thing, but I would always stop, you know? But with this, I just never stopped, and I won't stop. It's like it's my passion. And when I finished that book, the sense of, wow, I really can do whatever I want, whatever I put my mind to. I'd never really, I mean, I'd had that feeling kind of before, but this book really gave me that feeling 100%. So I would just say, you know, find something that you're passionate about and think about how it could be of service to others, and go get it and don't give up. That's what I'd say.
I love that. Go get it. Don't give up.
Yeah, but it won't be easy.
Of course, it never is.
Nothing worth having is easy.
Yeah.
You know,
nothing worth having is easy.
It's a lot of work, you know, but it's worth it.
But look what happens.
I know.
Like when
It's really crazy. It's really changed how I feel about myself too. You know, it's just really connected me back to, my confidence in myself.
Yeah, like, your personal growth. It would,
big time. Yeah. Lee always says it's like book's my like initiation. You know, it's like my, it's like my university degree, sort of thing. You know, which I love. Like. Yeah,
literally like a universe degree.
Yeah.
That's intense.
So I think like you with your dreams, you know, like whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Yeah, it's got to keep going.
It's got to keep going.
You can't stop.
That's
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But you have those days, you know,
where
you cry in the corner. You have those little stumbles, the falls, but you always 100%. Get back up.
And that's why you go out in nature and you play your didge.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. You got to have those things.
You take that time for some balance. Put your feet on the grass. You know, just ground yourself. I go to yoga, meditate. Yeah. Really important to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's self-love.
Yeah, I think we forget that.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Crazy world. We're all so busy. Married to the busy.
True.
Yeah.
But I even think the fashion, like the style, that's part of self-love, right?
Yes.
I mean, putting that
big time.
Effort in. Do you know what I mean? To feel good, to look, because you know you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And not to look good to anyone else, to look good to yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's been such a journey for me too. Like thrift has really connected me to my personal style, and it's really made me feel a lot more confident about the way I show myself to the world. I really know who I am now, and that's because of thrifting, for sure. Wow. I never got that from, you know, a mainstream store. In fact, it made me feel worse about myself.
True. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So thrifting just really reminded me of who I was, and
beautiful,
and kind of allowed me to find that unique way that I wanted to express that. Yeah, and that is definitely about self-love, like understanding who you are and appreciating that and putting your thing down, putting yourself out there, you know? Yeah. Thrifting is a total freaking vibe.
Yeah, it is. Man,
I should write a book.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, wow. Look, instant manifestation. Wow. No, but it is. Thrifting's a vibe, and I think everyone will feel that after watching this and after reading the book, you know, listening to the podcast, and just tapping into you. Do you want to give everyone your socials and all
for
that,
sure.
your website? Yeah,
so my Instagram is just my name at Faye De Lanty, FAYEDELANTY, and the book is Opshopulence, opshopulence.com. And yeah, I'm pretty much Faye De Lanty on most of my socials, on Twitter, on Facebook. But definitely come and join the Instagram tribe because it's a serious vibe. There's no hate, a lot of love. Yeah. Very inclusive, very diverse, and just such a good vibe. Yeah.
Everyone tap in, tune in to the new wave.
Amen.
That's it. Faye, thank you so much for coming on the Midnight Moods podcast. I'll definitely have you back. Maybe for the next book, you know what I mean? Or the launch, or maybe when the launch comes here or something like that. And we'll definitely have Brother Lee too. But thank you for coming in, being so honest and showing us, you know, this baby that you've created, which is amazing. And we're keen to see the journey where it takes everyone. And it's good. You're shifting the narrative, which is everything. Yeah,
thank you. I'm really thrilled to be here today. It's so good to talk to you. It's just easy and effortless.
I appreciate it.
You're so good at what you do.
Oh, no, thank you.
Keep it up, bro.
That's like the 7 spiritual laws, law of least effort.
Oh, I love that one.
That one's another one.
Law of least effort.
That one I always tune back to that one.
It's such a good one.
Yeah, it's that simplicity. It's that. That's a great book too.
Flow state.
Yeah, exactly. You have to tap into that for the book, I'd imagine.
Oh,
lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. I don't know where I went for like a year, honestly. Neither do my friends. They're like, where were you? I was like, I was in a cave.
Oh, God. Faye, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been amazing. This is the Midnight Moods podcast, fam. Faye and Opshopulence. Love.